Welcome to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lachelle Weemy, a peak performance coach and business strategist dedicated to helping you see what's possible within you, the blind spots that are holding you back, and the solutions to ensure success and fulfillment without the hustle. I use my secret sauce of metaphysics, brain science, and scripture to work with God to manifest your ideal life and business. If you're ready to create massive forward momentum in your business and bust through the blocks that drag you down, join me on the Spiral Up journey and create the clarity, confidence, and consistency to become the CEO that lives your life by design. It's time to create the sustainable impact, income, and time freedom you desire faster. Now is the time to spiral.
Hey friend, welcome back to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lachelle Weemy, and today we're going to continue our conversation all about manifesting, specifically the part of the manifestation code that requires you to get into action. And I am going to teach you how you can take supernaturally inspired action so that you can start to experience the actual manifestation of the things that you've been dreaming of. Now, I am still on a high from a few days ago when I did the vision board workshop where I taught people the right way to create a vision board that utilized brain science and quantum physics and scripture into our process to maintain the highest level, the most likelihood of things on that board coming to fruition. It was so much fun. If you didn't get a chance to join us live and you want to catch the replay of that workshop, go ahead and click the link in the show notes and we will make sure that you get access to that. Okay. Now, here's the deal, friend. When we think about manifesting, we have to consider all 4 steps of the manifestation code. All right. And I'm going to review those in just a second here and understand why a vision board and why having strategic planning after that vision board is so key to the manifestation process. All right. So step number 1, you have to be in high vibes. Like I am still riding high after that amazing workshop, and it's the great planning that we've been doing. And I have been using my theta wave machine that has given me such insight into supernatural ways that I can execute my plan this year. And I've been planning with my team and it's just so much fun. All right. I'm excited to get started on all the things. And so being in high vibration is so important, but you also have to maintain high vibes even when crap is going wrong, right? Even when you don't feel good, even when somebody's being a jerk, even when you still got to show up at the job that you don't want to go to. So being in high vibes is important because it energetically aligns you into the frequency of the things in the life that you want, all right? So you really have to monitor your energy, monitor your vibration. The second step to the manifestation code is for you to have a clear vision, which was the power of the vision board workshop. The universal laws that God uses to create things into physical form cannot work with vagueness. It needs specificity in order to take a wave and convert it into a particle, to have something in particle form to create it into physical form. And so you have to be specific on what it is that you want. And if you don't know, then that's probably why you're like all over the place, right? So having a clear vision. Number 3 is to know without doubt that it's on its way to you. Now, Jesus tells us a lot in scripture to have faith, have the faith of a mustard seed, that we can tell a mountain to move into the sea, but we have to believe first. And so oftentimes we've had things in life that have happened that didn't go our way, or we maybe tried some of this stuff. We've tried, affirmations, and we've tried, all this stuff, and none of it has actually worked. And so we're like, I don't really know if that works or not. Have to believe with expectancy and joy that God not only just can, but he will, and he will for you. And it's just knowing and thanking him before we ever see anything in physical form. And the 4th step to manifestation is always inspired, aligned action. It's doing the things knowing that the expectation of what you expect to see is on its way to you, and that you are going to just continue to take the steps that are necessary for you to do your part. All right. Now, a couple of things that I want to point out in this space when it comes to the importance of the last step, the importance of the doing part. Number 1 is that the action that we take is actually the part that activates the receiving part of the manifestation code. So you can have all of the things in the quantum field that you have been asking for, but it's the doing that allows you to receive things in physical form. And so if you're not doing your part, it's just going to be sitting there. One of the things that I joke about oftentimes on the show is the movie The Secret. Now, I love a lot of the concepts in The Secret, but it does this false, you know, idea that I can just like put a Ferrari on my vision board. It's going to show up in my driveway. Like, that's not how this works. We co-create with God. We get into action, trusting that he is doing his part as well. And we're trusting that the desires that he's placed in our heart are from him and for us and for the greater good. And it's just this beautiful collaboration of co-creation, right? Now, the thing is that if you are not also doing, what's happening is that when you said you were going to do something and then you don't do it, I don't know about you guys, but that happens to me, right? Like, oh, I said I was going to do this, but I didn't feel like it or whatever. What happens oftentimes in our mindset is that it takes us down the, oh, now I feel guilty about it. Now I'm ashamed of myself. You're doing all the negative self-talk. Guess what that does, guys? It shoots you down the lower vibration on the emotional vibrational scale. So now you have no longer kept yourself in high vibes because of the shame and guilt of not doing it. And you've cycled down and you are now further energetically from the things that you want to align with in the vibrational field. All right. So don't shit on yourself. Just do what you said you were going to do. I said it, I did it, and have integrity with your word. All right. And I just want to acknowledge in that when we have had situations, like, let's just say you've done vision boards in the past, and you're like, Lachelle, none of that crap comes true. I don't even know why I even bother with this anymore. Here's the deal. You might have been missing out on that last step and you haven't been taking inspired action. Oftentimes I see people taking all kinds of action, just throwing spaghetti up against the wall, and they're in this hurried, desperate, constant hustle energy. And that is not what I'm talking about here. I am talking about inspired, aligned action, taking the right steps in the right order. And the only way for you to be able to do that is to get in alignment with God, get in alignment with your highest self, to get in alignment with source intelligence, to tell you what those next steps are. And then you have to do your part and do the dang thing. And so oftentimes, if you're not doing, no wonder you haven't been seeing things come to fruition. No wonder if you haven't been seeing come to fruition that you don't believe that it's possible, and that your faith of a mustard seed isn't there, and your belief is not there. And you might believe that it's for everybody else, but not for you. So you see how important the doing is in this part of the equation. And so what I want to do today is I want to talk to you about taking strategic action, but not just strategic action, supernaturally inspired strategic action, so that you know what to do, how to execute it, right? And you can stay into alignment with who God wants you to be and how God wants you to get there. All right? So now what I want you to do is I want you to think about something that I actually just took a client of mine through this process the other day, and it was so freaking cool when we were doing this, because what I had her do is tell me what she would love to experience. I wanted her to take me to the top of the mountain. I wanted her to show me and help me visualize with her what this could look like. And I believe very much so that God is who places those desires on our hearts, because he knows our hearts better than we do. And he knows what is going to get us into action. He knows what's going to inspire us. He knows what it's going to take to help us do what's best for ourselves and for mankind. And I believe so much that my vision for this year is really just the expansion of myself and others, like bringing other people along this beautiful wave of expansion and the expression and infinity, right? And so he's going to take you to the top of the mountain. He's going to let you, look around the 360 view, like, whoa, like this is what this could look like. But he doesn't keep you there unless you visualize. That's a whole nother topic, guys. But he takes you there so that you can see, so you can experience, you can glimpse of what he wants for you. But then he expects you to trust him, not by giving you every single step of the way, but to expect that he's going to give you the next aligned step, as if you have little lights in the toes of your shoes. And you are going to trust him that he will take you to the mountaintop, that he has ways to get you there faster than what you could do. He has ways to get you there that are so intentional that he will help you learn lessons and build skills. He'll take you through valleys to walk through tall grass, to build up your muscles that will help you get to the summit faster. He will take you around the mountain in the better way so that you don't have to go through the hard parts, but you have to learn to trust him and the steps that he is taking you on. So really what this does in this manifesting process is allows us to see the vision, the vision boards that we just did, and then we trust the how with God. We allow for ourselves to know what's possible and to expect with thanksgiving that it's on its way to us, but we hold on loosely to the outcome and the how on the way. Now, I look at my vision board sitting next to me, and I noticed that a couple of years ago, I have one here. And if I look, every single thing on here has been achieved except for the things that are associated with the network marketing company that I was in at the time. Now, isn't that interesting that everything else has come true except for the very specific things that were associated with that company? Now, somebody might say, well, here, see, this is proof that manifestation doesn't work. I am going to tell you right now that this is so freaking intentional, and it's key to you keeping your belief and you keeping the mindset that you need to make this work for you. Okay, so here's the deal. God will always give you this or something better. He shows us the mountaintop. He shows us what's possible, but he actually might have something even better in store for you. And that he showed you that particular view of the mountaintop because he knew what was going to motivate you. He knew what was going to get you into action to take those first steps in trust. So fascinating because yes, those things on my vision board did not come to fruition, but the company that is associated with doesn't even exist in the same way anymore. Like that stuff isn't even possible. I have friends that were making $150,000 a month that it got literally taken away overnight. If I had put all of my effort towards just that thing, I would not be where I am. What God did was he allowed for that vision to get me into action. Now, instead of having all of my eggs in that basket, I have multiple streams of income. My life is better than it ever could have been. I'm not having to force things. I literally am experiencing things in flow because I'm on the right path, but he needed me to have that vision in order to get me into action in the first place. So I want to just really help you understand that, yes, we have to have specificity in our vision, but we also have to hold on loosely to the how, because he will take us to the place that is giving us the feeling of what that vision is. And that's something that I reveal in the vision board workshop. So you're going to want to check that out if that concept is new to you. Okay. Now, what we want to do is we want to be able to ask God what our steps should be. And many of the things that I teach my clients inside of the Spiral Up program have to do with tapping into their intuition and tapping into their God consciousness. So I'm going to give you a few of the things that I personally do. Number one is I use the feeling of my body to guide me. So in brain science, you actually can understand this as it links to quantum physics in this way. Our subconscious is what connects us to source intelligence. It's what connects us to God. Our subconscious is actually the part of our brain that is the womb of creation. It's the part of ourselves that's connected with God that allows us to co-create with him. Our subconscious does that. Our subconscious is what connects to God. We can ask God the yes, no questions. We can get guidance from him using our subconscious. How we do that, we can tie it to our body in the way that we can use muscle testing. We can use it with expansive, restrictive exercises that I teach people. But we're really tapping into guidance from God through our subconscious and through our body. So that's one way I do it. The other way that I have recently started doing that is freaking blowing my mind, by the way, is something called the AO Hub. The AO Hub allows my brain, because I have these special goggles and headphones and these these clips that go in my ears that attach to a specific software that I use that gets my brain in a theta brainwave. Theta is also the brainwave that connects to consciousness, that connects to God. It connects to my subconsciousness, to greater source intelligence. And so I literally spend 30 minutes a day in theta brainwave on purpose, where I set an intention and I allow God to literally give me the answer. It is blowing my mind. All right. So I might have the ability to give you guys some information about that technology too. So feel free to just reach out to me. Or I could put a video in the show notes and you guys can have access to just a little bit of background on it. But it is absolutely amazing technology. So that's one of the other things that I'm doing. But I want you guys to acknowledge the fact that God has to be with you when you're making your decisions. I don't want you to just throw a bunch of ideas onto a whiteboard and be like, yeah, this sounds good. This sounds good. This sounds good. I want you to allow yourself to get into a place in prayer, in meditation, to get into theta brainwaves, to tap into your body through your subconscious connection, to allow for you to ask God to give you the downloaded answers. The other thing that you can do is to keep yourself in the highest vibration of thinking things that lead to feelings of love, joy, peace, gratitude, freedom, because that vibration is closer linked to the God frequency, and you're going to be more likely to have conversations that are literally going to show up as the answer to your questions. You're going to have downloads that are just going to show up out of nowhere, but you have to stay in high vibes to have that happen, okay? But you need to tap into supernatural guidance. I am so done with the doing more to get more. I am so done with the hustle for the sake of hustling. I am so done trying to figure this out on my own. And here's a little insight to you guys that I want you to understand is that your logic, which is what most of us do when we're trying to brainstorm our strategy and what we're going to do for this year, is we'll think about the logical answers. What have I read about? What have I, what can I put my brain power towards? And what happens is, I'm just going to give you this visual. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you're going to see me with my hands, but the problem is at a frequency here. And what we do is we analyze it from every single angle that we can possibly think of. Meanwhile, the solution, the answer to it, is actually coexisting at the same time, but at a different frequency. And so rather than use your logic to try to get to all of the things, you're just realigning yourself with the problem. I want you to focus on solutions. What solutions can get me to where I want to go? All right? The other thing that I want to acknowledge when it comes to brain science in this is that your brain is literally programmed to be efficient. And your brain is only going to see things in the outside world that align with its belief system in the inside world, the subconscious. And so if your subconscious has been on the program that money is hard to come by, or that you have to work hard for money, or that kind of life is for other people but not for you, your brain will literally filter out anything that does not align with that belief system, and you will not see the things that are clear as day solutions. And so if you can imagine, if I were to grab this piece of paper right here, you can think about this as your logic is this tiny sliver of paper. Meanwhile, consciousness is everything else. And what you need to do to have supernatural transformation in your life and your business is to be able to acknowledge and tap into the supernatural consciousness that can come into your awareness and tell you the exact next steps to take. All right. So I am going to just tell you a sneak peek, really quick announcement right now, then I'm going to dive into it at the end, is that I am going to be offering a supernatural inspired strategy session for my listeners, for you guys, that is going to be live and in person, where I'm going to teach you how to do this. And I am going to work with you to have a strategy for the next 12 months to be able to manifest the action steps that are going to get you the vision board stuff. All right. So stay tuned for the details on that. But you have to be willing to tap into God and his consciousness before you just start making plans, because that's why you end up down the wrong path. And you're like, what the hell? That was a big waste of time, right? I want you to have faster results because you tap into source intelligence right off the bat. All right. Now, you also must be willing to adjust as needed. So I check in with God every day, multiple times a day. When I sit down and I'm ready to go over my to-do list, I check in with him first. I ask yes, no questions throughout the day. I lean into him. I do things to get me into theta brainwaves. I stay in high vibes as much as I can so that I can be ready to receive the guidance that he's given to me. So you have to be willing to check in with him often, and you have to be willing to go where he's leading you. So when he told me it's time to set down this network marketing business, I knew that it wasn't me giving up, because I really wanted it. But I had to be willing to step aside and to let him take the wheel, per se, right? Big things and little things. No, Lachelle, I don't want you to focus on this today. I have to be willing to do that. I have to be willing to let him lead me, because he can take me to the mountain way faster than I can on my own. He's teaching me lessons that I need. He's given me the resources. He's helping me find the people. But I have to be willing to let go of all of the reins and all of the hows and expect that it's supposed to go this way. I have to be willing to trust him that he is going to guide me where I'm supposed to go. Now, this is going to be an important lesson in this perspective, because I see a lot of people get stuck in the forcing of how it's supposed to look. I'm going to teach you how to do the strategy and align with God first and foremost, but we have to be willing to adjust it as he's directing us. What we're going to do is we're going to ask him at the beginning of the year, what 3 steps I need to focus on this year? And allow that to be the starting point. That's like us putting the little lights on the tips of our shoes and then trusting that the next step is going to be revealed to us, okay? We also have to be able to have integrity with our word, to do what we said we were going to do. And this requires intention. So when I put my strategy together for the year, I am setting the intention of the year. I am setting my intention for the outcome that I expect, with the asterisk of this or something better, because I know that he'll have something better in store for me. But I set the intention. Our intention, our thought, our consciousness is what helps take things from waveform and put them in a particle form. Waveform and particle form both exist at the same time. Our consciousness and our intention and our observation is what collapses it into a particle and then forms physical matter. So you have to have the intention. That's why it's important that we're just not winging it. It's important that we use our vision to then set in motion the 3 main strategies that we are going to do to create this reality. And that intent is what's going to set into motion the things that require it, okay? When we also can allow ourselves to think about the 3 main strategies, the 3 main projects that we're going to focus on this year, it allows us to eliminate distraction. So just like a laser is just focused energy, it can cut through steel. It's focused energy. So when you are trying to do 100,000 different things, you are literally displacing and diluting the energy that could be used as a laser into the things that matter the most. So asking God to help guide us in those 3 steps, having the intention of focusing on those 3 steps, are going to help us eliminate distractions and are going to help to remove any of the dilution of that energy that can happen, okay? Now, what we need to do is to allow ourselves in this process, once we've identified the 3 things that God has told us to focus on, and we set our intentions on what that's going to look like as far as the steps that's going to take on a quarterly and a monthly and a weekly and a daily basis, we also have to take into account who we need to be. We need to take into account what we need to learn. So is there something that I have to make sure that I can learn a skill or learn a concept in order to make this happen? We have to take account who we need to meet. Maybe I have to connect with a few different people in order to make this happen. All right. So it allows for us to take the 3 things that God tells us to focus on, and then our intention of that focus and looking at not only what steps, what breakdown do I need to make this happen, but also what things do I need to have to support those steps. All right. And this allows for us to open ourselves up to all of the things that we need to make this happen. And then I'm going to ask you to have a realistic execution timeline. A realistic execution timeline is going to help keep you focused. If you're like, all right, I want to make $10,000 this month, and you realize that in our planning, you need to have 25 clients, or you need to have 3 clients, or you need to have 5 clients of this and 5 clients of that in order to make this happen, whatever the case may be. What that does, when you have that realistic expectation of that outcome, it helps you to keep focused. Like, I don't have to do all the things. I just need to do these things. And if you're falling a little bit short because I teach you how to have measurable ways to keep track of this, you're like, okay, here I am. I'm 3 weeks into this month. This was my goal. What do I need to do to get me to this? And then you pause and you pray about it and you allow God to help you say, I want you to focus more on this. I want you to add this into this. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like this beautiful way of being able to keep ourselves in check and to not squirrel on all the dang things. And it helps us to move forward in the things that he wants us to do. All right. I also want you to acknowledge what habits you need in order to execute this. This is not just going to be about listing out all of the steps and the things in a step-by-step manner that you can check off your list, because it is part of that. But it might also be, what habits do you need to start incorporating? Maybe this whole tapping into supernatural guided consciousness is new to you. So you just need to start creating a morning routine that allows you to do that. Maybe it's just before you make a decision, you tap into your body and ask yes, no questions. Maybe it's that you take time to get into theta brainwave through one of the activities that I suggest, right? Maybe it's that you know that you need to just get up and move your body more, or you need to drink more water because water is going to allow for your brain and your energy to work more effectively. Maybe it's that I know that one of my goals maybe is to grow my Instagram following. So I need to create a habit of posting consistently. I need to create a habit of engaging with my audience very consistently. I need to create a habit of replying to my DMs and building these relationships, right? Those are habits. It's not something that I can do once and cross it off my list. It's something that I have to do on a regular basis. And so part of your strategic plan needs to also incorporate the habits that are required to make this happen and your plan for when things get hard. Because Fred, guess what? Number one, the enemy is going to be against you. When you start making traction, he's going to throw distractions at you. So you have to have a plan for what happens when that happens. You have to have a plan for when just life happens, because we live in a fallen world. And so who are your people? What can you do? What is, what habits can you create that require no motivation? It just becomes a part of who you are. Those are your plans for when things get hard. And then lastly, the last thing I'm going to tell you when it comes to executing this aligned inspired action and having a strategy for creating the vision board life of your dreams is to dedicate time to map this out. Now, I'm going to guess that most of you guys that are listening to this are listening to it in your car or on your workout or whatever, which, I do all the time on podcasts. Like, let's just be real. Like, that's how they're designed. But very few of you actually are going to follow through and create action from the damn things that you're learning. And that is partly why you're not getting the results that you want. So you have to dedicate time to map this out. Now, many of you are going to have really great intentions. Like, yes, I totally agree. I personally know my human design well enough to know that I need to get into a flow state for this to really start clicking. That means that it can't just be 15 minutes here and 15 minutes there. I know that I need to sit down and have a dedicated time to do this. And that is what I'm offering to you guys in the Supernatural Strategy session. We're going to do a workshop. It's going to be 2 hours on January. Sorry, Jamie. I'm going to say January 19th and I'm going to say January 16th. 28 minutes. Let me just look real quick because I don't want to mess this up for you. It is going to be for 2 hours. Okay. It's going to be for 2 hours on Sunday, January 19th from 4 to 6 p.m. Central Time, where you can meet with me. And we are going to do this together. Now, I am going to be giving everybody who signs up for this workshop access to my PDF that I use every year to plan out my entire year. I'm also going to be giving some tips on tapping into the supernatural answers so that you know exactly what you need to do. And I'm going to be giving you the time to work on it together. So if you have questions, I'm right there. I want you to get this done. I want you to start seeing results. I want you to understand all 4 steps of the manifestation code so that you can start to see the things on your vision board come to fruition. I am so done playing small, friend, and I don't want you to either. So let's meet together inside of the Supernatural Strategy session. Make sure that you grab the vision board replay as well. That's completely free. The strategy session, there is a cost to that, but I have something very special planned for those that actually watch the vision board replays. So you're going to want to grab that that workshop first, and then you'll have access to a very special deal for the strategy session. Okay. All right, you guys, I will see you next week inside of the podcast. And as always, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for reaching out to me, getting to know me better so I can get to know you better. I thank you in advance for your reviews and your ratings, because this is how we continue to grow. And I'm so freaking excited for what this year has to bring. So I'll see you guys soon. Bye, everybody.
So much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Each honest review helps me spiral up so that I can serve you even better. Whether you're feeling a lack of impact, income, or time freedom, or perhaps you're just ready for massive momentum in your business, let's chat. Apply for a breakthrough call so that you can gain clarity, identify what's holding you back, and make a plan to spiral up. Head on over to im-lifebydesign.com/breakthrough or access the link in the show notes. For immediate support, log into our community, the Better Club. We focus on inspiration, tactical guidance, and support. This is a community that wants to be better, do better, and have better in life and in business, and we're going to help you do the same. Let's spiral up, friends.